Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. Finally, I have an opportunity to be back here with you. I've been on a very long vacation. Actually, I was in Fiji for a while. That was the WHUR World Tour. It was amazing. Went to the Fiji Islands, came back to the States for a couple days, and then went on vacation for 11 days in St. Lucia. That was amazing, but back to reality. And it's always a good time to pillow talk, especially when I can pillow talk with great friends. I don't even want to tell you how long this young man and I have been friends, but it's been a very, very long time, I'm proud to say. And he's all ours tonight. He's got new music out, a new CD called Savoir Faire. I got a chance to listen to it. It's beautiful and sexy, but we're going to pillow talk first. So let's bring this brave soul in here right now. Grammy nominated quite a few times, and he deserves to win every award they have available. Flautist, saxophonist, like I said, a real good friend of mine, Najee, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
It is
Thank
real.
you.
How are you doing? Now, you're actually out of the country right now, right?
Yes, I'm in the Netherlands. Yeah, in Amsterdam, actually.
Oh, that's one of my
Yep.
favorite cities.
Oh
Amsterdam
yeah, I
is
love it there.
wild, though. It could be pretty
Well, I'm
wild.
not on the wild side. I'm in the central area, but I haven't seen any of that. I've been here a few times, and this is actually my first time I get to see some of it. I actually get
Okay.
around the city and stuff. Yeah. So.
Oh, nice.
hmm
So I know you're there, getting ready to do your thing and perform. I've been to Amsterdam a couple times, and
Yeah. hmm
I actually saw Earth, Wind, and Fire and Barry White in Rotterdam,
Oh,
and
okay.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah. hmm
so Morris Pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I think you might have introduced me
Uh-huh.
to him a long time ago. I think you
Probably.
did,
Yeah, because he used to
and
work in my band. That's right.
he used to work in your band,
Yeah.
and he hit
Yep.
me up. This was when I was living in New York, and I was, in communication with Mo. I kind of lost contact with him, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be in the Netherlands performing," and he
Uh,
had these tickets, gave me tickets for all of my friends who were there, living there. We had so much fun.
nice. Yes,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, well,
very
he's
nice.
actually living over here in Europe now, so I speak to him occasionally when I'm here. Yeah.
Oh,
hmm
that's awesome.
So
Still
I'd be more
performing.
than happy. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear from you. So
Yeah, please
before we get any
pass
stuff,
along my
I will.
love and all of that.
I
Yeah,
will.
that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Najee, it is so good to see your face. You look
You
good.
too, my dear. Same to you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
My pleasure.
So, all right, we're gonna talk about what you're doing there in the Netherlands, talk about
Sure.
your new CD Savoir Faire. But first, let's pillow talk.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. So, so our topic, and in fact, I've already, we're live, so I've invited people to, oh, they're already commenting,
Okay.
to, feel free to comment on what we're talking about. Oh, wow, look at this. Jazzy says, Happy Thursday, and said, Najee how's this? Oh, Najee has that it factor. Yes, he does.
Really?
You must hear that
Hey.
up. What are you talking about, really?
No,
Like
no,
you're
no.
surprised.
Well, I'll be sure to check my bank account to see what that is, too. So,
What that
what's up,
it
Jazzy? I
is.
see him all the time. So
Oh, that's nice. It's so
yes.
nice. It's so good to see you. And so we were in a conversation not long ago, you and I, Najee,
hmm
about we were talking about marriage.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's where this topic, was kind of born from the conversation you and I had. And
Okay.
people are kind of, on both sides of it. I happen to, even though I haven't gotten married yet, I plan to get married. And I'm
Well,
pro,
congratulations. Yes.
thank you. I'm
hmm
pro, let's do this. But
Right.
people are on both sides. And,
hmm
sometimes marriage seems to be, everybody's doing it. And then we go through cycles of it's like, nobody wants to really get married anymore. So we're talking about the pros
Right.
and cons, the pros and
hmm
cons of marriage. I know you've been married before.
Oh yeah, 3 times I've done it. Yes. Ah.
Okay. Why you say it
Such is
like
life as kid.
that? So, I mean, I would take that to mean
hmm
you like it. You like marriage. You're a
Well,
believer in marriage.
I think the thing about it is it's the best thing for people if they can make it work. The thing in our country, in America, it's a business arrangement. That's the part that people don't pay attention to. When
Yeah.
two entities come together in the eyes of the court, it becomes a legal two corporations basically coming together. And when it's all over, You divide the assets, and it becomes a bill for either one or
Yeah.
both parties. So
Yeah.
that's the part that people don't pay attention to. And I think, unfortunately, we're all psychologically conditioned by Hollywood to fall in love, when actually, really, it's about growing in love. Because you have two different
Yes.
personalities, and there's a saying, that you really don't know a person until you see them angry. So, and marriage is one of those institutions that you will definitely
You're
get to
like,
see how people
you're
behave
like,
in
who
marriage.
are you? Where did you come from?
So
Why
I
didn't I
don't claim
meet
to be any
you?
expert on this, at all, not at all. But
No, but you have your opinions, and
but
that's,
yeah, I do, yeah.
that's all I'm
Mhm.
asking. I
It's
mean,
a
I
beautiful
think
thing when it works. So
when it works, and I
yeah,
totally agree with you, just like any
mhm.
good relationship, it's
Sure,
what you put into it. And,
sure,
you do have to think about what you want out of it, because if you're not putting into it and you're just kind of expecting the good vibes to happen, you're kind of in for a rude awakening
true,
because it is
very true,
work. Relationships, good
truly true.
relationships take work. I mean, oftentimes people want to get married because it seems to be the ultimate symbol of love and trust.
Yeah, it
And
is. But no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I
but
didn't.
no, go on. But
Well, no, not really. But I was just thinking that that is true. But when two entities come together, you can have perfectly two good people. There's a third element that's born out of that, and that is the life together that you have, and that's where
yeah,
people get thrown off. It's like, okay, now how much do I give up?
now
How much
what?
do you give up
Yeah.
to make this third element we've created work? So
Yeah, that's so true. I
mhm,
mean, and on this show, we talk about relationships all the time.
sure,
And,
hmm,
that's what I love. I mean, I love that we kind of help people communicate a little bit better. And
that's good.
what you're right, Michael Wireman, Najee and Angela, a great combination. You got that right. Always have been.
Oh yeah.
Man.
One of my dearest
And
friends in the industry, still to this
yeah,
day.
well,
So,
you're one of my dearest friends in the actually and
yeah,
outside of the industry. I mean, you're a real
yeah,
friend. And yeah, I cherish our friendship. But when you talk about marriage, I mean, and I've talked to people who have managed to make it work for decades.
hmm,
And one of the things they say is that you do have to kind of be best friends. And oftentimes the way people treat their mate in a partnership like marriage is not like a friend.
right,
They'll lie to their mate, yet
right,
they probably won't be lying to their best friend that much. It's like a lot of
sure,
the principles that you apply to friendship. I would love for people to apply that, in their relationships as well. It's kind of
sure,
like, once you sleep together, you figure it's a whole different dynamic
right.
that, right? It kind of changes
Yeah,
everything.
everything, and I mean, and I'm gonna stretch it a little bit here with regards to women. I think what women have to realize is that sometimes the highest part of yourself we can give is that intimate part of you, and men, we're motivated by what we don't know in women. You know, when the
Hmm.
women give up too much too soon, sometimes they give away their everything. They give their
Power,
soul away, basically.
everything.
You give
Yeah.
their soul away. So, sometimes it's best to give it a chance to become a friend, if you will. It's
Yeah.
better for women to think in that and have the goal in mind as to what do you want to see out of it as time goes on. Because the reality is, we as men, we're still little boys even when we grow up, and we
Yeah.
sometimes have to rely on a woman's stability to help us grow and stay focused and all that. So in that sense, I advise to all the females out there, whatever you're considering, sometimes you may just say, you know what, let him figure me out instead of me trying to tell him who I'm all about, and
How
you'd be
about that?
surprised how much men we're motivated by the mystery. We're hunters by nature. It's in our
Hmm.
DNA, and sometimes I see a lot of these young women and they're just, not any criticism to anybody, but they're putting it all out there for everybody to see, and it's like I'm available for anyone who wants to come along. And I have to
Right.
say that's not always the best thing, for your goals if that's what you really desire.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
And it's
therein the lesson. I back up from the rest of that part of it because I don't want my email blowing up with a bunch of
oh, they're
how
gonna
dare
be
you say this
hating
and
you.
say that.
How dare you? No,
But
but you
it's
know
really
what though?
advice from a man's
It's
perspective. Really.
and it's the truth. I mean, and it's funny you said young people. And it's funny, I mean, just, things change. People get a chance to do things their own way. I know our
Exactly.
generation did things one way, the younger
True.
generations do things
Mhm.
differently, and the even younger ones do things differently. And talking to a lot of younger people, male and female, sex is different. I mean, like you said, men like the mystery. A lot of the younger women feel like, listen, everybody else is having sex immediately. And if I don't, I'm just going to end up by myself. I, like you, Najee, encourage them to not buy into that, because
I
human
agree.
nature is human nature. I don't care
I
what
agree.
year it is. Human nature is human nature. And if you want to fall in line with that thinking, okay, but just know that it does come with consequences. And that
It
is, you're
does.
doing what everybody else does. You're just like everybody else.
Well,
So
and I also think, not to cut you
have
off,
enough
Dee, but I
confidence. Well,
think,
I was just going to say the confidence, have the
yeah.
self-confidence in yourself that,
Hmm.
if that one doesn't want to wait for you, that's probably not your guy.
Well, I agree, but I was also going to say it made me think of something you just said. Sometimes when you're too anxious to move into something, you lose a lot. And I know I'm going to get criticism for this because women will say, I've heard the argument where women will say, well, I can do whatever men do. And that's not always necessarily true. You can on a physical level, but I think there's more of a price to pay for a woman than a man does.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that, you know, everything is internal. Women give birth to society, male and female. So on that level alone, there's more in terms of, the more you put yourself out there, the more you're away from the goal of ever having the mate that you really desire. I really believe that when it comes to men. We want to feel. I'll tell you now. Let me just give you something from a man's perspective. So, ladies, if you don't
Okay.
agree, I understand, but I'm going to tell you from a man's perspective.
And
Every
feel free to
man wants.
comment.
All right. Every man wants to feel like the woman he has in his life, his interests are protected when he's not there. That's just the way
Mm-hmm.
we are designed. And if we feel a woman doesn't have that in her nature, we quickly, that's where the distrust begins. Now, I'm not saying there are men that come with mental problems. We know about that. But I'm saying on a general level, when it comes to establishing a stability, all men want to feel like, hey, when I'm out, I ain't thinking about that because I know she got my
Right.
back and I got her back. I provide for her, I make sure everything's good. So, you know, just keep that in mind sometimes, sisters, when you're out there, dating and all that, and I say dating is the negotiation for sex, in my opinion. You go to
Mm-hmm.
dinner, two people sit there, they like, okay, we're going to do this thing or not. And what are the terms? And then you get into this love contract, right?
Right.
And sometimes the love contract could be long, it could be short, but it comes with stuff, and if you
It
engage,
does.
and responsibility comes out of it like children, well, the love
That's a
contract is signed
whole
for at
nother.
least 18, 20 years. You see what I'm saying?
Right. The contract is complete. And
And she walks
and
with a baby,
Roger
but so do you, brother. You walk away with a baby
got
too.
that
So
right. 18 years. 18 years.
18 years. And
Roger
hopefully
said
it's
this
yours
is
when it's
true.
over. That's just the comment on the
Get
song.
that
I'm just
DNA
playing.
test. He is not the father. Or is
Right?
he?
Right.
It's interesting. I mean, the whole thing is love and trust. And like you said, it's a negotiation, just like you were saying early on in this conversation. It's like two corporations coming together. So in a
Yeah.
negotiation, you figure out, what do I have? What is my power in this? And you
Right.
you each have it. You each have some power in
Yeah.
this. But that's one aspect. The other aspect is the love. The
Yeah.
love and the romance and all of that. And you
Absolutely.
thinking that this is a partner. I happen to believe that good partnership is, that's the most powerful thing in your life. Your partner is the most powerful person in your life. I mean, more powerful than a family member or a best friend or anything. Your mate can pretty much determine how your life is going to go. If you're in a very bad relationship, I'm sorry, but that's going to color your life. If you're in a very
Yeah.
good, supportive relationship, you're going to soar. That'll help you get higher than you could get on your own. I think that's how we're designed. We're designed to
I
need
totally.
each other. And as you were talking about women who, maybe they don't want to get married and they're just out here living free. And, it does come with consequences because we do tend to feel a lot more. And although we might be
Mhm.
acting like, I don't care, it's just sex. I don't know.
Right.
I think we do tend to get a
Yeah.
little bit more attached.
Well, not only that, I think that, and a lot of people will not agree with me, so I'm going to just say it because it's just, I take responsibility for what I say. But I just think the responsibility is a little different for women than it is for men. I just do, and I know a lot of people go, what do you mean by that? Well, basically, the truth is every woman's a mother, even if she's never had children. She's a
Yeah.
mother in society. She mothers community. She mothers education. I mean, the first teacher of society is the woman. So with that being said, yes, physically, you can do anything you want because that's your right, that's your freedom. God has given each and one of us the ability to choose for ourselves, and He respects our freedom of choice that He's given us. But you cannot deny that it comes with consequences, on both
Yeah.
sides. And in the case of women, I think the way that you naturally are, there's a little more to pay. Women are quick to get a reputation as a result of certain decisions
That's
like
right.
that. With a man, he's like, oh man, he just being a dog, whatever. The
Exactly.
story.
Yeah.
So, but with women, oh man, what they say. But so I just think that women need to consider that a little more, what her true internal nature desires. And let me just give you an example. A friend of mine gave me, and it was kind of funny. So please work with me on this. But he was saying, man, you ever seen a beautiful used car? And you look at the car and you love driving it, it's great. But then you look at the mileage and it's like got over 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles. Well, you say to yourself, well, it's a great car, but I ain't going to buy it because it's got too
Too
much
many
miles.
miles.
And unfortunately,
Interesting
a lot,
analogy.
yeah, I know, but it speaks the truth to some degree,
Yeah.
when it comes to unfortunately male-female relationships, men,
Society
we
looks at
know,
it differently.
society looks at it a whole different way for women than it does for men. And that's unfortunate, but it is a reality that, maybe some of us need to pay attention to.
And to flip that, I agree with that. But what a lot of men don't realize is that the woman is looking at the men the same way. If it's a guy who's
Very
out
good.
there and
Yeah,
he's, sleeping with everybody, I don't really want any parts of that, because what it
exactly
shows
right.
me
Exactly.
is that this guy, just like you were saying, I mean, I need to know when I'm not in your presence, and there's going to be a lot of time that I'm not going to be in your presence, but I don't want to have to worry about, okay, is it out of sight? Now he's just going to have at it, with whomever, I don't want to have to worry about that, because that's a hell. I've been
Exactly.
there. That's a hell in
Exactly.
itself. So
Yeah.
I agree, just on both sides. I mean, if you don't have real love and you don't have real trust, I would encourage you not to marry that person, because you're signing up for some misery.
Yeah. There you go.
Misery. Hey,
There you
Mark.
go.
Unless you're a vintage car lover like me.
No.
That's as it relates to cars.
It was
He's
just an
gonna put some
analogy, though. Okay, please
spare
let's not
parts,
take it too far.
fix it up nice.
But
I think you're missing the analogy, Mark. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know. Oh,
he
this is
says he
great.
buys
Oh,
spare parts. Hey, man, what you got to do to keep it going, bro?
I guess you can buy spare parts for people too.
There you go.
Do what you got to do, Michael. Having kids will, what is that? Extend the contract. Couples should think about that before having children.
Oh
Make
yeah.
sure the contract is good. Yeah, Michael.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Michael. Every time I'm doing the Quiet Storm, he calls and has a triple play request. So his nickname is Triple Play Mike. And yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So,
AGU
but
is,
to add to your love, I'm sorry, not to cut you, but I think love is really the glue. Like you say, as a friend, you truly love somebody. That'll glue through the difficult times, obviously, because
yeah,
the one thing about relationships, as we all know, you're going to have difficult times. It's not going to be
yeah,
peaches and cream every day. It's a struggle. It's a struggle,
yeah,
and more importantly, it's a struggle with yourself. Because you learn more
yeah.
about yourself. So
It's so, oh my gosh, Najee, that part.
yeah,
Because, and that's, another thing I think relationships are designed for you to grow as an individual, because by yourself, you're fine. You're all your little bad
true.
habits. I mean, you think you're perfect because there's nobody to hold up a mirror and say,
Right.
that's really not cool.
Uh-huh.
You're just living your best life and thinking, well, I'm good. And, people have their list of,
Yeah.
well, my man has to do and this, and has to have this, but nobody's applying that list to themselves.
I
Yet you're
agree.
in a
Yeah.
relationship, and all of a sudden, this is another grown person who has lived their lives the way they
Sure.
want. And now you're both trying to figure out how to match it up together. And there's got to be conflict if you're being honest.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
right? I mean, and to your point,
Yeah. I mean,
it's how you
it's
fight.
nature.
You're going to fight. It's how you
Exactly.
fight.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the air of respect is always important. I
Oh
mean,
my gosh.
you should never get to that point. I hate hearing these conversations with people where they were married, they're divorced, they got kids, and then they talk about, oh, she was the worst thing and the worst this and that, and he was the
Yeah.
worst
To
thing.
the
I'm
kids.
saying, but yeah, right, that too. But in the meantime, you had kids together, you know? So how could they be the worst person in the world to you
Yeah.
and you develop this thing in the world, you know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Listen, especially when kids come, you are bonded forever beyond this lifetime, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So I
Yeah.
think, I always hate that. Oh, well, I hate her, and I hate him, and
No, me too.
oh, come on,
And
yeah, but
and
you didn't
Najee,
hate him
don't
at
you
that moment of
think
when you guys got together and created
exactly?
it.
And there are two sides to every story. I mean, when
Absolutely,
somebody, right, when somebody comes to me like that, I mean, yeah, I agree. I'm sure something was wrong, which is why it didn't work out. But
uh huh,
if you're just constantly talking about the other person, but you're not talking about your part in the
that's right.
demise of your relationship, you're not telling the whole story,
True, true.
right?
I agree. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Dennis, teach Najee. I love it. I leave some for the imagination.
I'm not
Islam
trying to teach.
influence,
I'm
huh?
nobody's teacher. I'm nobody's
But
teacher.
you know
So please,
what?
I'm
You
looking.
are, though. I
Yeah.
mean, I think we all are. We all are.
Yeah.
We're each other's
I,
teachers.
I'm trying to learn myself. Believe me, I've had my many failures of my own, personally and otherwise. So, I'm just a person who tries to learn from my own mistakes, and if there's something other people get out of it, I'm grateful for that part of it. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, you know what? I
Yeah.
mean, I love the fact that you're talking about something that people don't normally get a chance to hear you talking about.
True.
They, go to your page and go to your concerts and
Hmm.
follow you, and it's usually all about the music, and you're just genius at what you do. So I appreciate you coming on Pillow Talk and talking about just real life stuff like this,
Sure.
talking about relationships and opening up and talking about your own successes. And I won't even say failures, because I think even when I think about some of the relationships that I would say were terrible, that some of them, I mean, but there were good parts as well. And I
Right.
learned something from all of them.
Exactly. Exactly right.
I've had some amazing, it's not like I've had a whole lot, but of those that I did have, I've had
Sure.
love, and I've had great relationships. And I've also had, not that.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's all supposed to, I guess it helps you grow. It's how you get to
Yes.
where you are if you're paying attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that kind of rings true,
Hmm.
what is this? Who is Najee? Wait a minute now. Who is Najee? What are you asking? Who is Najee?
It's okay. They don't. They can
Well, let
Google
me just tell
anything.
you. Yes, Google Najee
Yeah.
and then come back to us. But Najee, just the short of it, came on the scene a very long time ago. Started out just this brilliant saxophonist, and I think it was Shaka Khan who put you.
Yes.
Didn't she hear your music, and then you went on tour with her, and things happened pretty early in your life and in your career. You tell it. I mean,
Well,
he's been on my
well,
radar for almost my whole life.
well. It was in 1983. My brother and I, we were students at New England Conservatory of Music in Boston, and we couldn't afford to go
Fareed?
anymore. Yeah, for Reed. So we came back to New York City, and fortunately, a friend of mine, Lizette Wilson, was the musical director of Shaka Khan's band at the time, on the Ain't Nobody tour, and she invited me to audition, and I got hired. A few days later, my brother got hired. We went on tour. I met a
Wow.
young lady at the time named Elisa Morgan, who signed her first album with Capitol Records through Hush Productions in New York, and I played on her very first album. And it was through that I got associated with Hush Productions, signed my first record deal in '86. Najee Steen, that ended up becoming a gold, ultimately platinum record and Grammy nominated, and the rest is history. You know, since that time, I worked with many, many people, Prince included,
Many. Oh,
touring and
yeah.
recording with him. So,
Oh my gosh,
you know,
Najee.
so a lot of people, you know.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Stop right there. I remember
Sure.
when you went on tour with Prince,
Yes.
and there were so many stories. You had so many great stories.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, with the BET days and of course the, you know,
Yes.
radio days, HUR and all of that, I've met so many people, but I never met Prince. Never.
Oh, I'm so sorry you did. He would have loved you. You know, he
Oh
would have
my
loved you.
God.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
You know, it's so funny because when he passed, you know, myself as well as other musicians who had been through the MPG, were getting calls from media people, you know, wanting to know questions. And then the first thing I would say,
mm,
listen, if you want bad stories, I have none of them.
yeah,
All that
good.
stuff you're all talking about in the media, I never saw any of that. I never saw the guy drunk. I
Oh,
never saw
that's
him
so good.
inebriated. None of that. You know, I mean, he might have some wine for his guests when they come, but I never even saw him drink wine. So all this stuff about him being a drug addict, they were trying to label him. I can't sign off
Mm,
any of it. And I got to say, my experience with him was totally positive because I mean, we always just enjoyed playing the music, but more
yeah.
importantly, he was one of the most generous and smartest people I've ever met in my life, you know, in the
Wow.
industry, in the game. So
Wow.
I have nothing bad to say about him. I got number
Yeah, I
love
mean,
for him.
you always had amazing stories. I was here for
Oh
every
yeah.
one of them too when you were on tour with him.
Right.
I
Oh
loved
yeah.
it, and I
Hmm.
was so proud of you. Just okay, there was one story. I think this was early on when he was hiring you, and he pulled
Yeah.
up, or the limo pulled up, and they just brought out the cane or something crazy.
Oh,
Do you remember that story?
oh, that was
Had you waiting in the
yes. That was.
car?
Well, you know, Prince was a master at anticipation, creating
Drama.
anxiety. Master. And but he had invited me out to Minneapolis, both Fareed and I. And we went out. We came out there, and I'll never forget. We were sitting in Paisley Park for like an hour and a half, and finally he comes running in. He says, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I lost the keys in my house. Can you guys just stay here for a little while?" And we did. And finally, he sends a limo driver to get us. A deep of winter. I mean, it's snow piled up, and we're like, okay. So the limo driver comes and gets us and takes us to his home. But the thing is, it's so dark out there, you can't see anything. So we're sitting in a limo, and all of a sudden, you know, the door is like, we don't know what to expect. The door opens, the limo driver starts brushing snow off the carpet, and then he drops a cane right on the floor. I'm like, man, it's just too
Oh,
much for me, man. So I went and sat on the other
right.
side of the limo because I didn't know what to expect with this guy. So,
You
and
don't know
finally, he
what's
gets in the
coming.
car, and everything is cool. I mean, we started vibing, conversating, and then we went to a club, hang out. Probably about two
Oh,
o'clock in the morning,
nice.
we started our first musical experience, which was just jamming. 2 o'clock in
Two
the
in the
morning,
morning.
2 in the morning at Paisley Park, you know, and from there he asked me to do an album with him, which was called Rainbow Children, and I did that. And then he asked me to join the MPG. He
Mm.
said, "Hey man," he comes to me one day. He says, "Hey man, I want you to join the MPG for a 2-week tour." I'm like, "Okay." He says, "But I got a problem. I don't know what to pay you." I said, "Well, I don't know what to charge you." And he does the ultimate pimp thing, I call it. He says, "What do you need?" I'm like, "What do you mean what I need?" He says, "You need a house?" I'm like, "No, I don't need a house, man. I'm good." You know, and we never
What?
talked money. You know, it was like one of those things is I would just come home and I'll just say this. I never had a conversation with the IRS till I started working with him. You know, so
Okay,
there
this
you
is
go.
good. Okay. So he did right by you. I love
He
it. That's a
really did.
happy
He really
ending.
did. It was.
Oh
Yeah.
my
It was
gosh. Well, you know what? I
Mhm.
mean, I certainly. Oh, hey, Silver. Silver Logan
Oh, there's
Sharp.
Silver.
That's my
Oh, I love Silver.
girl.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Songbird.
How are you, my dear? It's good to
Yes.
see you.
Yes. How you doing, Silver? So Najee, congratulations on your new
Thank you.
CD. I mean, I am
Hmm.
always here for your music. In fact, you were probably the first major artist who let me sing on your CD.
Oh,
I
right.
remember that I did background
Yes,
vocals on
share my
Share
world.
My World.
Yes, I remember
I
that.
told
That's right.
everybody, I probably,
Yes, you did a
I'm like,
great
you need to
job.
buy this because I'm on this.
I forgot about
Get
that.
two.
That's right.
Oh, I
You
didn't
surely
forget.
did. You did.
I will never forget that.
You know.
But savoir faire, I mean, tell us
Uh-huh.
about this. I had the great fortune of listening to this,
Mhm.
and you
Oh,
collaborated
thank
with
you.
some other amazing musicians.
Sure,
Tell me
yeah.
about it. I mean, your music is always very sexy.
Oh, Wow, I didn't have sex on my mind when I was doing it. I'm sorry to tell you, but but
I
you know,
don't know,
honestly,
Najee. I don't know.
uh, in excuse me, in 2019, during the COVID period, I had a lot of time to call up friends and invite them to do things with me. Allison Williams was one of them. She was,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, at home at the time, and Barry Eastman, who's, as you know, one of the most prolific Grammy award-winning producers in the
Mhm.
industry. Um, got also Chris Big Dog Davis. He was involved
Oh.
as producing. And we went as far away as Brazil. Rob Abear, who produced quite a few Brazilian artists along with American artists, including Al Jarreau and others, um, was my connection to Brazilian musicians, authentic Brazilian musicians in Rio and Sao Paulo. And so two of the songs are actually recorded down there.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
so when I started the record, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, look, let me just call everybody, see what feels good. Darren Ron is involved, great saxophonist.
Oh yeah.
Um, Mike Parlett, another great saxophonist and horn arranger, and Lee
Ooh.
Thornburg from Blood, Sweat, and Tears did a lot of the horn arrangements.
Oh my
And
God.
so we got this. What do you call that? When what do we like that thing in New Orleans? A roux
Like
or whatever.
Zydeco or
Yeah,
oh,
no. Well, the food we like to eat.
Creole,
It's a
Cajun?
Creole food, Cajun food. Yeah. So we got this
Yes.
combination of a bunch of stuff in there, and it just came
Oh,
out
it's
the
a
way it did. And I
gumbo.
didn't think we did. Gumbo. There you go. That was the word.
Yes,
Gumbo. Yeah.
yes.
I should know
Oh,
better.
it's beautiful. It is amazing. I mean, there's a
Thank you.
couple songs I want to play on the radio
Sure.
show. Tell me about the song with Allison Williams.
hmm Well, that's a remake of Valentine Love, which was originally written by Michael Henderson and recorded by Norman Connors in the late 70s.
Mm.
We've heard several interpretations, but I've always loved the changes of that song. And I thought the perfect combination um, was Chris Big Dog Davis, because for those of you who don't know him, he's one of the most brilliant arrangers I know. He
Oh
can take a
yeah.
simple melody and really surround it and color it up with just certain harmonies that you won't hear. He just has his
Yeah.
own gift. So anyway, the two of them together brought this song to life. And what can I say? The response has been
Yeah.
great. It's been
Oh,
really great.
it's
hmm
beautiful. You also
Yeah.
got together with one of our mutual friends, Frank McComb,
Yes, Frank McComb is
on
on it.
this
As a matter of fact,
project.
he's singing. Yes, there's a song written by Brenda Russell and Terry Lynn Carrington called "Modern Lovers," and
That song
we
is
yeah.
whew, so
Oh, thank
sexy.
you, thank you. So he was able to come in, and that song was recorded, as I said, down in Sao Paulo. And actually, we just used Frank on vocals. He didn't even play piano, as most of you know. Frank is an amazing pianist, keyboard player. But he came in
Yeah.
and just did the lead vocal for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great singer. You can hear the Stevie Wonder influence
Oh
every
yeah.
time he opens his mouth. But he's got his own voice. And yeah,
Sure.
it's beautiful.
hmm
Congratulations to you. I
Thank
mean,
you. Thank you.
it's fresh. When did it actually drop? The CD.
May 13th of this year, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
hmm
new. It's brand new.
Yes, brand new. Brand
Congratulations.
new. Thank you.
So how much longer are you out there in the Netherlands? And are you
Well, I
going
should
to
be leaving
any
on.
of the coffee houses and the red light district? And
Listen, I know I don't go to red light district, but I do hit the coffee houses. You know, I'm a coffee guy. I love coffee.
no, no, no.
So
There's a
yeah,
coffee shop or the
yeah.
coffee
Oh, right. In
house.
the coffee houses, no, I
I
don't
don't
do
know which one's which,
that.
but one of them is there's no coffee.
Listen,
They're in
one
there
time.
lighting up.
Oh yeah, I remember my band one time. I was over here, and my band, they were into all of that, and they were like, "Yo, man, you go into the coffee houses and you get a nice cup of Joe and a nice big fat one." We were like, "Man, if the
So
sun
funny.
came out more, I'd move here." That's the kind of thing they had going on. But
That is funny. I mean, like you, I don't participate with any
yeah,
mind altering things, but I have
uh
to go in there. I mean, you got to see it. I'm like, I've come this
oh yeah,
far,
it's amazing.
right? I mean, it was
Uh,
so funny because they have a menu for
yes,
the,
they do.
whatever kind of marijuana you want. They've got like a
Yes,
whole,
true.
in one of them I went into, there was a whole display case of,
Right.
you pick whatever you want with your
Well,
coffee.
it's it's funny because now in America we're getting things being legalized, but
Yeah,
this culture has been a part of their culture. I mean, the vices are
for
legal.
a very long time.
Fortunately for me, fortunately I don't really have a care for any of the vices,
Yeah,
but it's a great historical city. I mean, there's a lot to
yeah,
see. I've been spending the whole week going to places that previous times I haven't been able to see or visit. So.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
I
so
see Jay
cool.
Williams is on there. Jay Williams plays on the record
Yes,
too.
talk
Yeah,
about
great drummer.
killer
One of
drummer.
my favorite drummers in the
One of
industry.
my
Yeah.
favorite drummers in the world.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
Jay. Oh my gosh,
and
he is the truth.
he is.
The truth. So, wait a minute. I mean, since this is Pillow Talk, I will go ahead and admit the first time I went to Amsterdam, the people who lived there said, okay, we're going to just take you on a tour. And they took me to the Sex Museum.
Oh
Did
wow.
you go in there? You have to
No.
go. Oh my gosh,
Okay. Well,
Najee.
maybe.
Okay, let me just warn you. As soon as you walk in, there's like from almost floor to ceiling
Really?
phallic
Oh wow.
symbols. There's
Wow.
this huge penis. As soon as you open the door, you're like,
Wow.
okay.
Okay.
But it's
Very
just all
interesting.
kinds of really
Sure.
different things. But as soon as I walk out, I'm here like looking around, making sure nobody sees me going. I walk out.
Yeah.
There was someone who recognized me from BET.
Oh wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
am like, what are the chances? Why are you walking by the sex museum at the same moment that I'm walking out? That was
No, that's funny. That's funny.
hilarious. I was like, okay,
Well,
fine.
I haven't done that. I haven't been doing a lot of bike riding though. That's been great.
Oh, that's
This
good.
bike
You've got to
riding
go to all the
time.
landmarks.
Yeah, so I've been going all yesterday. I spent maybe 4.5 hours just riding around the whole area.
Oh, that's
So,
nice.
mhm.
That's you've always been very physical and just keeping yourself in good
Yeah,
shape.
sometimes,
No,
in our
so
business, you
true.
eat badly, but it's good. So
As long as you try to get some kind of balance.
exactly, yes.
Man. So all right. I know we're taking up a lot of your time while you're there in the
Oh no,
Netherlands.
I'm good.
Probably gonna.
Mhm.
You're good. What
I'm good.
time
It's
is it
only
there?
well, it's 9:30 here, 9:30 p.m. So,
Okay.
and
Okay. We're
I'm
good.
on California clock, so I'm good.
Okay, so we're good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so awesome. I just love you so much, and I'm always so proud
Oh,
of
thank you,
everything that
sweetie.
you're
Love you too.
doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending time with us on Pillow Talk with Angela. So this is going to air this coming Sunday night on
Okay.
96.3 WHUR as well as Sirius XM channel 141. I don't know if you know this, Najee, but WHUR is yet again the #1 radio station in DC.
I
So
mean, you're on it. How could they not be? I mean, come on.
oh,
Anywhere
I
you show
love
up, it's
you.
going to be like that.
That's why. That's why everybody
Oh
loves
man.
Najee. You know what to say.
Oh man.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Great conversation and program. Love the Prince story. So do I. And he's got a lot of Prince stories. So,
Oh
Najee,
yeah.
for people who want to connect with you, I mean, I stalk
Sure.
your Instagram page.
Oh really?
Tell folks how they can connect with you on social media.
It's very simple. Najee official is for Instagram, Twitter, and I think Najee the official page is for Facebook. And then of course, you can contact me. For those of you, I get a lot of students who want to be in contact with me. So for saxophone
Oh,
from
good.
people, if they want to contact me, they can just email me directly at contactnajee@gmail. So,
Awesome.
and for people who I think are legitimate players, I send them out materials if they need some help and, improvisational materials, things like that. So
Wow. Oh,
I
that's so
open that up as
cool.
a free invitation. You don't get charged for it. It's my
Oh,
personal.
and you don't get charged. Shoot, I might
No,
have
no,
to take
no,
up the
not at
flute.
all.
Learn a little something straight from
Hey, I
Najee.
played on your
That
record though, didn't I? Didn't I play
yes,
on
you
your
did.
song? I did,
You
yes. I did
did
play flute
on
on it. Yeah.
Tokyo Sundays. You played
Tokyo
on
Sundays. Yeah.
Moon Dance.
Moon Dance. That's right. I
Yes.
remember.
Oh,
That
you
was
did your
great.
thing
That was
too.
fun. Yeah.
Thank you again. Yeah, you played your flute on there. It's
Oh, thank
just
you.
amazing and beautiful. I think you've got a new fan here. I don't know if I'm
Okay.
pronouncing your name right, Mylan. He's gonna check you out, bro.
Okay. What's up, Mylan?
Thank
Thank
you,
you. I wonder
Mylan.
what part of the world are you in, Mylan? It
Yeah,
seems like
where are
you're
you?
somewhere here
I
in Europe.
think Mylan started following this show. I did a great show with Cisco. And
Oh,
because
nice.
Mylan
Okay.
was asking where Cisco was, we did a great, we co-hosted together. And
Okay.
I think that's when we came on Mylan's radar. So, Mylan, I'm glad you're still here. And yeah, Cisco's coming back. We've talked about it, and we're going to co-host again. And I'm glad you were here to meet Najee. Najee is definitely one of the greats. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone who
Thank
took
you.
the time to comment, because that's the only way we know that you're here is by you commenting. But this is going to live on my YouTube page, my Facebook page forever. So if you didn't get a chance to comment tonight, you can always comment whenever you feel like it. All right, my love. Oh, Art Sherrod! This is like
Art Sherrod,
saxophone
that's
heaven
right.
here.
There you go. That's my man. That's my man. Great player. Great musician. Great player.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely. All right, Najee, we're going to let you get on with your, I guess it's
Thank
your
you, sweet.
Thursday night in the Netherlands, and we'll see you
All
again
right.
soon. Thanks for this
I
great
hope
music.
so.
Congrats on your new CD. And
Thank
everybody,
you.
thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you. Have a good night.
And thank you. Thanks for the invitation, Angela. It's always good to see you, sweetie, and congratulations once again from me. So to you and
Thank you so
your
much.
fiance. My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Oh, it's out there now.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's been out there.
That's right. Look at that. I'm blinded over here. My goodness. I'm red like this.
Oh, whatever. It is love. It's
Hey,
a whole
listen,
lot
I
of
commend
love.
the brother. I commend you, my man. There you go. Came correct.
Thank you, love. Thank
All
you.
right.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Be well.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.